Paññā-vimutti and Ceto-vimutti. I will describe two forms of concentration, samadhi, so that you practitioners can study and understand them. 1. Calm concentration. 2. Steadfastly focused concentration. I will first explain about calm concentration, then steadfastly focused concentration. The listener will be able to discern the differences and connection between the two forms of concentration from this book. The group of people who can achieve calm concentration are those of the Ceto-vimutti nature. In past rebirths, they lived as ascetics, hermits, and sages who practiced by intensely staring at meditative objects, kasina. They were skilled in tranquil meditation and proficient in higher levels of meditative attainments, jhana samapatti. Once reborn in this lifetime and ordained in the Buddhist religion, they were content with the form of meditation familiar to their nature that had been developed in past lives. They listened to the Buddha's sermons on how to cultivate concentration, samadhi, and how to cultivate insight wisdom, vipassana paññā, but were more deeply pleased with the cultivation of concentration. They set out on Thanga at various forest destinations, far from society, and continuously and steadily practiced meditation. Because they had previously trained in meditation, achieving tranquility was effortless. They were able to attain serenity in the 4 fine material absorptions, rupa jhana, and the 4 immaterial absorptions, arupa jhana, such that an empty void existed within their minds. There were no sense objects or preoccupations, aramana, that could agitate their minds. As an example, in the times of the Buddha Gautama, 30 monks had attained the pinnacle of meditative states. One day, the leader of the group convened a meeting to discuss every monk's meditative attainments. Each and every monk articulated the identical statement that he did not possess lustful preoccupations, nor did he possess any defilements, desires, or mental intoxications. The leader proclaimed that, "Now we have all reached the same state. We have all attained release from all defilements and desires. We have eradicated all mental intoxications and have all attained arahantship. Let us all prepare to go and pay our respects to the Buddha in order to receive a declaration of our attainment as arahants." Once the 30 monks neared the temple, the Buddha knew through his insight that all 30 monks had mistakenly self-diagnosed their arahant attainments. They had merely meditated to calm states and meditative attainments, jhana samapatti, which would not lead to shedding defilements and desires in any way. Calm meditation and meditative attainments are merely techniques to suppress defilements and desires. The Buddha sent Ananda to tell the 30 monks that, "Tonight, you may all spend the night in the cemetery. Tomorrow morning, you may pay your respects to the Buddha." Thus, the 30 monks searched for a place to rest in the cemetery. At the same time, the Buddha conjured a vision, nimitta, of a teenage girl with an attractive figure. She was lying face up without any fabric covering her body, like a person grinning and sleeping all alone in the cemetery. One monk walked by and saw this and called the other monks over. All 30 monks were skilled in serene meditation and meditative attainments. Upon seeing this vision, the feelings of lust that had been stifled by tranquil meditation and meditative attainments began to revitalize. All of the monks relapsed into passionate lust, and their faces turned crimson red. The leader announced, "We have heard the Dhamma from the Buddha on the methods of cultivating insight, vipassana. Let us all cultivate insight tonight. Use wisdom to contemplate loathsomeness, asubha, and unattractiveness of that teenage girl's form. Separate each of the body parts to see how the entire body is foul. Opanayiko, or internalize and reflect on your own body. Use wisdom to contemplate your own body such that you know and see that it is similarly loathsome. Contemplate the external filthiness and contemplate the internal filthiness within your own body in order to know and see the filthiness of both." That night, all 30 monks achieved arahantship. Practicing calm meditation and being proficient in meditative attainments, and then switching gears to practice steadfastly focused concentration coupled with wisdom, like these 30 monks did, is characteristic of the noble ones, Ariya of the deliverance of mind, Ceto-vimutti type. Understand this accordingly. Those of the Ceto-vimutti nature are gifted at tranquil meditation and proficient at entering meditative attainments. However, in the final stages, they must still use steadfastly focused concentration that is supported by wisdom. There is no instance of the Buddha's teaching, once the mind, citta, enters a calm state of meditation, contemplate with wisdom. This type of teaching greatly deviates from that of the Buddhas. The Buddha originally taught that once the mind, citta, enters a serene meditative state, allow it to remain there until it is satiated. Do not force it to withdraw, and do not compel it in any way. Once it has gotten its fill of that calmness, the mind will gradually withdraw on its own. Be mindful, sati, of the withdrawal from meditation, and be mindful to restrain it at the upachara samadhi stage, or steadfastly focused concentration. Thereafter, apply that concentration to wisdom or insight development, vipassana. These are the original principles that the Buddha laid forth. May all of you who are interested in meditation understand this accordingly. There were few of the Ceto-vimutti character during the Buddha's era, and they were fortunate enough to have been ordained while the Buddha was still alive. The Buddha was able to help them convert their wrong views into right views. This is illustrated by the aforementioned account of the 30 monks. If today's meditators are like those 30 monks, in this current era, there will be no way to rectify their wrong views and misled self-importance. They will be left to the product of volitional action, kamma. They will die and be reborn as Brahmas and live very long lives. They will completely miss out on the opportunity to achieve arahantship, despite possessing the replete and primed merit, punya, and perfections of character, bharami, to do so. There is no one who can change their wrong views into right views, because those who meditate and attain tranquility or develop some type of supernormal powers, abhinya, also develop conceit, mana, and pride, atta, along with it. They will be too conceited, egotistic, and smug to bow down to anyone. They believe that others are incapable of practicing mental cultivation as skillfully as they can. Not even the Buddha's arahant disciples are able to turn their wrong perceptions into correct perceptions. The only exceptions are those who had been past associates or tormenting mates. There are some people of the Ceto-vimutti type in contemporary times. This can be discerned by their effortless achievement of meditative tranquility and ability to remain sitting for prolonged periods. However, they do not possess the wisdom to effectively solve their own problems. They do not possess the comprehensive wisdom to discern what the characteristics of the mind, citta, are. So they go and ask various teachers about the symptoms of the mind that have arisen. If the master does not understand, then he will merely issue a brief reply. Those symptoms are correct. Carry on. The Ceto-vimutti can surely practice tranquil meditation in this current era, but they will encounter problems because they lead off with desire. Meditating with desires, such as the desire to have wisdom arise in the mind, citta, the desire to have the mind become pure, the desire to shed defilements and desires, the desire to see heaven, the desire to see hell, the desire to see previous births, or the desire to awaken to the Dhamma as an Arya Bukkala of such and such level, falls right into the path of defilements and desires. The conditioned mind, sankhara citta, that is a tempter of defilements, kilesa mara, will deceive the mind into unknowingly losing its way. Those who meditate with desires, as explained above, will encounter troubles as the 10 defilements of insight, vipassanupa-kilesa, infiltrate the mind. Meditative visions, nimitta, of various types and forms will arise, and they will become deluded by them. During the Buddha's time, there were people who were afflicted with defilements of insight, and he helped turn their incorrect perceptions into correct perceptions, and they were able to achieve levels of holiness as Arya Pukkalas. If someone becomes afflicted during this present era, however, correcting their perceptions will be a daunting task. This is because they will be extremely self-confident and will not believe others who warn them that they are practicing wrongly. If those who are similarly afflicted with defilements of insight come together and discuss the results of their practice, they will harmonize like drums and cymbals. They will be able to converse about things they have known and seen all day and all night without any end in sight. Discussions about the different visions, nimitta, that have arisen, and discussions about the Dhamma seem to be sensible, clear, and credible. Those who are oblivious will assume that Dhamma to be genuine and believe accordingly. In reality, it is fake Dhamma.